I'd like you guys to put your hands together. He came down here from Bradenton, Sarasota. Give it up for Uncle Rocky. Yeah, Rocky!
Stop my ass.
Hey, hold on. Put the jar for a second.
So let me start with two Jews and an Italian walk into a brewery. So I've been married 40 years to Pixie. The only reason why I do this is because it's the only place I could get 2 words in edgewise. You know, maturing in marriage is accepting the fact that your wife can't remember where she's left her glasses on top of her head. But she can remember something I said 40 years ago on a Monday night. You know, she has 50% of a conversation in her head before I'm brought into the conversation. She walks in the house, and at that point, I'm accused of never paying attention. I have to admit, I do forget a lot of shit. I have what I call Italian Alzheimer's. I forget everything but the grudges. You know, when I was getting married, I went to my father and I said, Pop, tell me what I need to know. I want to make this marriage successful. He says, you need to know 2 words, yes, dear, which struck me as kind of curious because I never heard him say that to my mother. So I go to my off-the-boat Italian grandfather and I say, Pop, what do I need to know? I'm getting married, I want it to be successful. He goes, well, this girl, she's Italian? You'd like to talk like that, Jacob, right? Oh. I said, yeah, she's Italian. He says, she's a Sicilian? I said, yeah. He goes, you can tell a lot about this girl by the way she uses her hands. I said, how so? He says, well, if her hands are wrapped around your throat, she's probably pissed off. Ba-boom. So, the 3 most frightening words in any marriage, any married people here? Yeah. 3 most frightening words in any marriage. I was thinking. There's 4 stages to marriage. One is that newlywed stage, a lot of playful bands of sexual innuendo. You're banging like crazy. You wear out a mattress the first year. The second stage is happy. You know, the sex is good, the sex is frequent, but what do you get? Hey, what are you doing to mommy? I hear her screaming in there. She's yelling Yahtzee. We want to play. The third stage is amused. You're feeling amorous. You run to the bedroom. You rip your clothes off. And you just crack up laughing because gravity's a bitch. And the 4th stage is the tolerance stage. That playful banter of your youth has turned into a bit of bickering. You still have sex. I like to call it hallway sex. You walk by each other and go, fuck you. Well, you know, an observation about women. I grew up around a lot of Italian women. I'm around a lot of Italian women now. I noticed that women can talk incessantly without breathing. So I come to the conclusion that they can breathe through their ears, which blows out the whole theory of, I don't want to give you a head because I can't breathe. Thank you. So, this whole aging thing, I thought it was going to take a lot longer. I would much rather go through puberty again than this aging shit. You know, I went to the doctor, I told him, you know, my knees are stiff, my hands are stiff. I said, the pain is incredible. He says, well, you know, it's arthritis. You're going to have to just learn to deal with it. Arthritis is going to make everything stiff. Not so. You know, I used to smoke a lot of pot, but I still smoke a lot of pot. But actually, now when I want to feel high at my age, I just jump up off a chair real quick and I get pretty loopy. You know, there's 4 rules to aging. 1 is you never pass up a bathroom. 2, never waste an erection. 3, never get down on the floor without a plan to get back up. And 4, and most importantly, you never trust a fart. At this point now, I stand in front of the toilet, and it takes me longer to start peeing than it does to actually pee. And it's sort of like these urinary dots and dashes. It's like Morse code. Ships at sea have started to respond. Uncle Rocky, we hear you. You know that as you age, your body changes pretty significantly, and now my balls are longer than a CVS receipt. People have asked me, like, when did you feel like you were getting old? And I said, it was the first time I sat on the toilet and I experienced splashdown. So I shaved my balls, this way the hair wouldn't absorb all the water. But I knew I needed a solution. So I go to the workshop, and I devise a plan. I take 2 mini bagels and I craft what I call the TFD, the testicular flotation device. But the bagels absorbed water and broke apart, so I had to polyurethane them. Once I polyurethane them, I thought to myself, how can I get these to stick to my balls? I put a schmear on them, Jacob, a nice schmear on the bagels, and they worked perfectly. You know, I got a few tattoos. Pixie drops me off at the tattoo place, and I get a new tattoo, and I go home, and she's looking at me. She goes, why would you get 3 lines tattooed above your knee? I said, well, you remember when the kids were little, we would draw lines on the door jamb to measure the kid's throat? She says, I get it, but I don't get these 3 lines. I said, well, to be honest, I'm trying to measure the impact of gravity on my balls. She says, well, why the dotted line? And I said, because when they hit the dotted line, I have to stop wearing shorts. You know, menopause was an interesting time for us. I like to call it the thermostat wars. She went from freezing all the time to sweating bullets. It was amazing. So, you know, she's got the thermostat set down all the way, and, you know, we're in the bedroom one night, and these intermittent flurries are breaking out. But I hear, I hear a little bit louder, and I turn around, and then I was all excited. I had a different buzz in mind, and she's just there with the little handheld fan, just trying to cool herself off. I asked her, I said, well, why? Why are you hot all the time? She goes, it's the hot flash. She says, I don't know how to describe it other than it's a burning sensation from the inside out. I said, I get it. It's like when I eat a very spicy Italian meal. I woke up a half hour later and she was standing over me with the frying pan. You know, menopause is Mother Nature's way of telling an Italian woman that she's going to deal with facial hair for the rest of her life. In fact, my grandmother at age 90 had such a luxurious beard, she was asked to front for ZZ Top. All right, that's all I got. I'm Uncle Rocky. Let's hear it for Casey, and let's hear it for Charlie Foxtrot for putting up with us.